Breaking news. I've got some breaking news for you on an Echo of Glory today, and it's not about a new signing.
It's kind of.
It is a new signing.
Or it is a new signing. I was about to say that I'm going to send Gary Diamond out on loan, and then he said to me, it's my last show for a while anyway. I was like, what? And then you said...
I have told you about this.
Yeah, but I don't remember what happened yesterday.
We're getting a puppy on Saturday, and yeah, I need to be at home to it can't be left alone for hours on end, so I'll have to be at home.
Neither can you.
Yeah, no, true. That's why I'm getting the puppy.
Yeah, Spurs-related name?
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not
Jürgen?
Spurs related. No. But in time, once it's vaccinated and that, James has very kindly said that, and it's a bit more trained, I'll be able to bring it to the studios.
I'd forgotten about that.
So yeah, this is my last. This is why I got home from holiday last night about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I've made an effort to be here because I knew that I wouldn't be here for
What
probably.
am I going to do? I've got Flaky Jakey who's here every now and then.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Jake.
Okay, all right. Welcome to an Echo of Glory. It's transfer deadline day. Oh wow! Breaking news: Newcastle just paid 55 million for Vista, says George Pena. I don't know what's going on, but it is transfer deadline day. We'll come to that very shortly. But how's your week been?
Good. Busy.
Working.
Had my brother's stag at the weekend.
Oi oi.
Oi oi. Best man. So, you know, I was up, but we had a good day. He was happy. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Got a big hug at the end. It was all worth it.
and you got to miss Spurs live, which is
Unfortunately, I did.
great. No, fortunately. And you just got back from your holidays, Gaz?
Yeah, I watched it though,
Yeah. Same.
as I did watch the City game as well, which was
Yeah.
contrasting.
All right. Well, club news is really sort of transfer related. We'll come to Javi Simons in a minute, but we are...
He gets about.
Actually, no, we're not going to do club news first. I'm going to press this button here, not the one that says end streams. I've done that before. Actually, no, we're going to do the Mickey van der Ven thing shortly when there's more people in the... I'll give away shortly when there's more people here. It's my one good idea for the year. Javi Simons, 50-odd mil from RB Leipzig, who I was looking through their history of players. They've had some players go through that team. It's a bit strange why players like Simons have gone from Barca and PSG end up at Leipzig, which is like not even the best team in Germany, but maybe they pay big money. I don't know. But that's a top signing, and nothing showed how much we need a player like Xavi Simons, like the big hole in our midfield against Bournemouth. But we've got to be happy with that.
I think the last time I was on, all the talk was about potentially Eze, and I was really careful to say.
God, that feels like a while ago now.
There's a lot happened since then.
I was really careful to say, I think it's important that we get a player of that profile rather than discussing Eze himself, because it's one of them, until it's done, you just don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much breeze and nonsense.
Do you think every club... I mean, my algorithm on Twitter is...
Particularly bad.
particularly bad, but also Spurs. Are we... Is it... Yeah, I will mention that in a sec.
That's an immediate stop.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to stop what I'm doing, but I can't see. It just says, is it Ray again donating us 20 quid? Ray, we always love you. Every show, Ray donating us a few money to help out here at Launchboard. But as Gary always says, become a member and you can win. Oh, I'll do it now.
Do it now.
You can win this, the Mickey van der Ven signed shirt. If you are a paid up member of an Echo of Glory, you can be a subscriber. Great, you can't win that. The only way to do that is to become a member. We're going to give it away at some point this season. Not going to tell you when. I don't even know when. But it will be. We're going to give it away before Christmas, says our overlord James in the other room behind the glass. But you've got to be a member. So do that, as well as donating money to an Echo of Glory.
Thank you.
Ray is out in front. If Ray clicks
Ray's winning.
If Ray clicks become a member, Ray might get the shirt.
Is he not a member?
I don't think he is.
Ray, become a member.
Yeah. All right. I was just going to say, does every club feel like they're close to signing players and they're on tenterhooks and it doesn't happen? Or does it just happen more to Spurs?
No, it's because you were so invested in it and you follow Spurs social media. But if you followed, any other social media of any other club, it would be the same thing. Yeah. And so many fans elsewhere, when you actually get your ear to the ground, say the same things. They're all coating off their chairman left, right, and centre. Nobody.
Liverpool aren't right now.
Liverpool aren't. But most fans of other clubs are coating off chairman left, right, and centre. You can imagine there'd be Liverpool fans out there saying, "Why didn't we just, pay the money earlier in the window and get Isak in for the beginning?" we've all got the same complaints. But the point about Eze was two things. One, I was careful to say a player of that profile because it was a player of that profile that we needed. Whether it was Eze or somebody else, it was Morgan Gibbs-White, Eze Simons, as it turns out. But funnily enough, I have a sort of suspicion that I think Simons might have been the actual initial top target at the beginning of the summer because that was the name that was floating around, I feel, more so than any other. What happened, I don't know. But
Seb Stafford-Bloor wasn't too keen on him. Maybe that was because Seb's a Spurs fan and he thought he was going to Chelsea.
So when we had him on, he spoke more about his attitude than anything else. He didn't really comment too much on his actual ability. So I listened to it back, and what he said was he's a young kid. He's had a few problems, but we didn't actually press him on how good a player is this kid. Put all of that to one side. How good a player is he?
True.
And the reality is that he's very, very highly rated. He's in the exact mould. And if you asked me at the beginning of the summer, who would I prefer? 50 million for Simons at the age of 22, as he's just turned. He will be 23 only, I think, at the very end of the season. By the time he completes his 5 years, before we extend our 2 years, he's the same age as Eze is now. Now, you might say, but Eze's proven in the Premier League.
I will, yeah.
Simons has proven at international level and Champions League level.
Yeah,
right?
there's a mix there.
I think there's a much higher ceiling for Simons than Eze. And
I agree, yeah.
I think if Arsenal fans would just say, oh, you're only saying that because, but if we go back to the beginning of the window, Simons would have been my choice over Eze. And it doesn't really matter at this point because he's who we've got. And I think it's a fantastic signing.
I agree.
A really, really good signing. And I'm looking forward to watching it.
Alan Jenkins asks, Gary, you watched the game on Saturday. Can I ask how it was a 3 p.m. kickoff, therefore embargoed live? He was away. He was on his holiday.
He's got a legit excuse.
It's not embargoed in Crete.
Yeah, same.
They've got all the games. So.
Yeah. No fire sticks here.
See what you're doing there, Alan. Very good.
Before I come to you, Jake, on the window, Lloyd Becker says offer Bournemouth Johnson, Tell, Richarlison, Hodebert and Basuma and 80 million for Semenyo.
And Evanilson.
Oh, yeah, and Evanilson, fine. I'm sure Bournemouth would do that. Louis Stevenson, will you be unhappy with no more in? Yes, obviously. 3 great first-team signings, agree. We're still a bit short. We're always short. But there's some rumours of Kolo Muani. He sounds like a player. He's the new Damiao for me. That it would never just sign for me. Kolo Muani wants to play. He went to Juve. Like, why? They ain't even that good. Probably pay better wages. He's got
Definitely
Saudi all over him for me, Kolo Muani. But I think we could sign him. Could be a player. He'd centre forward, left wing. Jake, as it stands, the transfer window, out of 10, rate it.
As it stands currently, I think you have to give it. A 7.
Oh,
is that you think that's high or low?
High.
Well, if you'd asked me, I'm kind of ignoring the rubbish, all the rubbish that's happened in the middle.
Why?
The Gibbs White.
Okay.
The
So
Eze.
you're talking players.
As it stands, if you'd said to me, going into deadline, I mean, I never like leaving things to deadline day, but going into deadline day, aside from the injuries that we also have now picked up, although Maddison was a long time ago, I'm sort of referring to Solanke. Yeah. If you'd said to me, we're going to get in João Palhinha, we're going to get in Mohamed Kudus, and we're going to get in Javi Simons, I'd have said, okay, that's pretty good. The problem is, Maddison is long-term. Kulusevski, I suppose, always was long-term, but it now appears is going to be even longer. And we don't know what the deal is with Solanke.
Well, there's talk he's now out for a couple of months.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're now short a striker, which I wouldn't have said at the beginning of the window we were, and this is a problem. Yeah. And we're still probably short a top quality left winger if we assume Simons is going to play as a 10, or is he going to play on the... And even if he plays on the left, who's playing through the middle? Yeah. So we're still short. And
that's why it can't be a 7 for me yet.
Yeah.
Kolo Muani probably turns it to a 7.
What is it, a 6? Well, ask me tomorrow. Because
you're not on tomorrow.
Well, if we can get a 10 or a left-sided player through the door, I mean now, but the problem is now we need a 9. We need a striker.
Can you see us signing 3 players today?
Oh God, no. Can you see us signing 2?
Probably not.
No. So now where is
maybe
the player
2
that
loans?
We need?
You might get 2 loans because loans.
What's the position we need more? A striker or a winger?
Kolo Muani sounds the perfect player because he can play. Well,
He
probably
got
not.
dicked around last
he
time.
He's already rejected us once. He can play up front. He can play left wing.
Hang on, he rejected us the last time, so we were 17th in the league.
Yeah, of course.
And not looking like
Of
we were going to
course.
get Champions League football, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, let's not pretend that Xavi Simons would have come to us had we not got Champions League football.
Yeah, yeah.
Similarly, perhaps Polinia, similarly, perhaps
Yeah, yeah.
Kudos. I don't blame Kolo Muani for rejecting us the last time. We were an absolute S-show.
I wouldn't have played for us last
I know.
year. And
Like,
I love
if you're a
Spurs.
professional footballer and you're ambitious, you want to play at the top level, you wouldn't be looking at Tottenham languishing 15th, 16th, 17th in the league around January and go, do you know what, that's the move for me. Like, why would you? So I don't hold that against him at all. I think in terms of the window itself, I agree with Jake. If you'd said at the beginning of the window, forget all the noise around it, I think it's very clever what Spurs put out. Don't listen to the noise. And I think too many of us do and really get wrapped up.
It's very hard to avoid, especially if you go on.
It is.
But that's like saying the Eze thing wasn't true. We know the Eze thing. We would know we were close, and we know we got gazumped by Arsenal.
I don't know though. Like, I mean, you listen to Eze's cousin. He came out and said, you know, he spoke to the guy every day, and he was laughing at how much noise there was on social media. That was a complete load of nonsense.
Okay.
You know, he came out on a podcast and said that. He's got no need to say that. So what is true and what isn't? I don't know how much people actually really do know. I'm sure there's no smoke.
I think enough of the big hitters though were saying that.
I'm sure that you know. Look, listen. There's no smoke without fire, right? So there's probably something in it.
You'll just say you don't know how close it really.
But
is.
how close were we really, right? We don't really know what goes on. And if you forget all the noise and you say, at the beginning of the summer, everybody's saying, we need a six, everybody's screaming, we need a six, we need a six. Well, we've gone out and got probably the second best six in the Premier League to have played in the Premier League over the last 5 years, behind Rodri, right? So you can't argue with that. We need a right winger who's a ball carrier. Well, we've gone and got Kudos. I think he was a fabulous player and the exact profile signing. We need an 8. We need an 8. Or a 10, sorry. You've gone and got one of the hottest prospects in European football. Like, you can't really argue with that. The reason that the window at this moment is looking a little bit more sort of not as great is because of the injuries to Kulusevski, Maddison, and now Solanke. And on Solanke, I would say today, I think we need to stick to the plan of getting that left winger, which brings me on to the Tell situation. Somebody's already mentioned it. It looks like a weird signing. I disagree. I think Tell will turn out to be a very, very good signing for us. But he's raw. He's young. He's 19 years old. Harry Kane didn't break into the team.
I think people forget how young he is.
He didn't break in. Harry Kane didn't break into the team until the age of 21. Did he?
I know we can't mention them in the same breath.
But at the age of 19, he wasn't looking.
Oh, he was basically.
He
more
was
or less
he was
done,
on loan
wasn't
at
he?
Norwich,
Yeah,
wasn't he? You know, so these are the levels at which people are sort of assessing players today because he came with a big reputation, a big transfer fee. But they're forgetting, you know, Harry Kane was literally playing, I think, at Norwich at the age of 19 and looking like a bit of a cart horse. Now, I get that he's an exceptional case, but these kids are young. He's got a huge amount of ability. I like his attitude. I think he's aggressive when he gets the ball. I think he's aggressive in the press. I think he'll go on to be a good player. I think overall this squad is taking a really, really nice shape. You've got Dragoshin coming back, and I know people say, well, he's rubbish. Again,
He's still an international centre half.
And a very well-respected international centre half.
Who, if he's not told to stand on the halfway line, might be a better
and
defender.
I was going to go and say, I don't think we can assess him
Yeah.
until we've seen him under Frank,
Yeah.
right? I'm looking forward to seeing what he comes back and does.
Well, hopefully we don't have to.
I think where we're short, if anything, is left back and left wing. Okay, ignore the injury to Solanke because you've got the likes of Richarlison, you've got the likes of Tell. If you really need, you've got
we don't
Johnson.
have Son.
You've got Johnson.
Are we short of left back? Spencer's playing there very well, and the doggy's back.
Yeah, but
I'd say we're short of
three,
right
We need a right back.
but
Either,
three,
one or the other.
but three,
We need a fullback.
three
Yeah.
fullbacks.
Yeah, we need a fullback.
Yeah,
We need
we need
a
a
fullback.
fullback. Fine, okay. And then you might take a look at that and say, well, then do you? Because actually, you've got Archie Gray that can
as a
slot in at
fourth,
right back.
as a fourth
right?
option.
The point that I'm making is, I think the squad shape is really sort of coming together. If we got a Kolo Muani who can play on the wings or up front on loan to save funds for January or next summer, I think that would really top off a great window. The bigger disappointment for me is the players out. Like, our squad is so bloated at the minute. Got to get Basuma out at this point. Got to get Solomon, Hill. And there's another one hanging around that I can't think at the moment. Why? How did Chelsea sell these players? I've never heard of.
I was going to bring that up actually. Chelsea this summer. I'm working on Deadline Day later for the Premier League TV. Just updating my transfer sheet. Chelsea have sold all loaned. I know a lot of it's to Strasbourg, which doesn't really count, but they've got rid of 19 players this summer, and they've brought in £252 million.
Oh, it's unreal.
Jeez.
So they've sold Madueke 48.5, and Kunku 36, João Felix 26. Petrovic, the keeper for Bournemouth, he had a day off on Saturday.
What I'd say about somebody like João Felix for 26, that is a book loss.
Fine.
Fine,
but then you look at players you've never heard of. Renato Vega's gone to Villarreal, 21.
No idea who that is.
Bashir Humphreys to Burnley for 12.
No idea.
We don't sell. We're cancelling contracts to get these players out.
Yeah,
soon.
that always. I can never
Ryan
get
says
my
here,
head around
Liverpool getting 25 million from Ben Doak. Never heard of Ben Doak.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to pretend I have. 25 million for. I've never heard of this guy, and we can't sell Solomon, who absolutely smashed it up in the Championship last
City
season.
do the same. Jan Couto, Dortmund, 25 mil. Maximo Peroni, Como,
But what
13
I would say,
mil.
I think this speaks to prolonged success. And so, if a player is at a club that is deemed successful,
they're good players.
Then they're going to be, the assumption is that they're good players.
But Chelsea haven't been that successful.
World champions, they're telling us.
But they've got a history of producing young players, as good young players through the system as well. So I don't know how many of those came through.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you think about what Chris Cole? Go on.
I think what I was going to say about the transfer window. The thing that I don't like, and that actually would mark it down from a 7, is that we are where we are now in terms of injuries and players that we still need. But had we managed to had that whole Morgan Gibbs-White debacle not happened and we actually got that deal done, we wouldn't have then had to sign a Javi Simons with 3 days to go, still needing maybe a left-sided player. Or do you know what I mean? That would have been further down the line, and then maybe last week they could have got the other player that we need through the door. We're now on the last day, and we're still short on the last day.
We are. Most teams are. Most clubs are. But
how much does it? Sorry, guys. How much does it frustrate you that we signed Xavi Simons on a Friday? Can we get that bloody deal done Wednesday, Thursday, so we can play?
He wouldn't have played. He wouldn't have played. He wouldn't have come. He might have been on the bench at best, and he might have got 10, 15
Anyway,
minutes.
he had to go to the F1, so he was out in Holland watching.
Was he?
Yeah.
He's
on the boring.
But look, I mean, in the context of time, getting Simons, late in the window, it really he'll miss more games through injury over the next 5-7 years than he will these first 3 games of the season.
Of course,
it just is what it is.
Especially at Tottenham.
And and as I say, if Maddison was fit, if Kulusevski was fit, if Solanke was fit, we'd be looking at this squad right now, saying it looks like one of the deepest squads. I don't know if the first 11 is as strong as the Pochettino 11. I think that was an exceptional first 11. But this is starting to look like one of the deepest squads when they're fit, if we can get them fit.
I think Tell is dividing opinion now because people are looking at the 30 million we spent on Tell, thinking, did we really need to spend 30 million on him? As who said it here? Pilch says, we chucked him on for Hail Mary minutes. He's not the guy for me you're bringing on to score an equaliser. He nearly did, but he's not the guy you really want to bring on to try and score that equaliser. He's so raw, and I'm so fed up with Spurs having raw. We're going into a Champions League season.
Well, this is what I was going to also say. It still feels like if we get another signing in, I don't want another prospect.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Another high-end. Well, I know Simons has got a lot of international experience, but there's still. I think I personally, maybe it's because I haven't watched a lot of him. I still think there has to be a slight question mark. I mean, it must be difficult to come in 3 games into a season. You've got to factor that in. Has he been playing in Germany?
Well, on Thursday, I'm talking to Raphael Honigstein, who'll be able to answer all
Give
those
us
questions.
all the info,
so you can listen to that.
I just think it's.
I
think you have to. I hope that he hits the ground running, but I imagine it's very difficult. He hasn't trained with Tottenham. Obviously, he's got to come in. There's an international break now, so he's not even going to. I assume he's in
the Dutch squad.
He's
He'll get injured for Holland.
So he doesn't actually start at Tottenham really until midway through next week. He's then got 3 days to train with the squad ahead of the next game against West Ham away. That
His
is
first
difficult.
game's a cup final.
That is difficult, though, isn't it? So is he going to start? We reckon he'll probably be on the bench.
Start him.
Start him. Yeah, good luck, mate. Do your best. 3 days. I mean,
top player. Start him.
It's difficult though.
But no, it's not. It's not. You got to start him. I think against.
No, you have to start him.
If he's fit, you got to start him.
He's been playing football. It's not like it's pre-season.
Yeah.
He's played for Holland. He's played for Leipzig.
Yeah.
And what I'm really interested in with Simons, so I think the goals and the assists will come. His actual goals and assist record is really good for the number of games he's played. It's up there alongside sort of anybody in the game, really, apart from the
top.
The silly ones. But it's up there with the likes of Eze, I think it's better than Gibbs White at this stage of his career. So the goals and the assists will come. What I'm really more interested in with Simons is how he links our play overall. I don't want to see a player that is playing on the periphery of games, popping up, doing something magic and getting an assist or a goal. As great as that is, we need somebody that is going to be our conductor, our orchestrator. And so I want to see him coming short. I want to see him picking up the ball. I want to see him getting it out to our right wing, our left wing, into our striker, and really linking it up. And, you know, that's what... goals and assists are all stats, and they're brilliant, and they're the most important stats. I do understand that. But where he's really going to make the biggest impact for us is, as we saw on Saturday, that gaping hole in midfield and getting that ball into someone. And I think if we can link this to the game on Saturday and start talking about it at this point,
we're going to.
I think Frank, if there is a positive to take from Saturday, will have learnt a tremendous amount more
100%
on Saturday about his team and squad than he will have done in any of the games against PSG or Burnley or Bournemouth. And I think
he learned a lot from PSG. In that it was his first game. It was like, okay, hang on a second, these guys are all right, you know. If they'll listen to me and I can organise them. But I think you're right. I think he learned a lot more in defeat on Saturday than he would have certainly from City and Burnley.
Well, I think he learned a lot of lessons for himself, and they are, you know, Pap Sarr has a tremendous use in really tough away games in that 10. But thinking about that City game, as disciplined as we were and as well organised as we weren't creative. We weren't sort of, you know, creating loads of good chances and sort of dominating possession. We were very structured and organised. And yes, Pap Sarr was instrumental in both goals. And you know, that's great. In games like that, you can play that way. But at home, and it goes back to Burnley, if I'd have been on after the Burnley game, I'd have been sat here saying, great result, 3-0. It wasn't a 3-0 game. I mean, at 1-0, I was sat there concerned that if Burnley get the next goal, we were bang in trouble. We were bang in trouble if Burnley had equalised. They didn't, and we went and put them away. Fair enough. But we weren't dominant. We weren't creating clear-cut chances. And I think this is what Frank has to learn, is that, or see or understand, is that at home, or even in away games against the likes of West Ham, right? I think Sarr is not a 10.
Okay, let's read the starting team, guys, because I think that's something that people were. Maybe in hindsight, I don't know what the reaction was on Twitter at 1:45 when the teams came out.
You weren't checking?
I wasn't checking. I was lying by a pool, thinking, "Am I going to bother with this game today?" Vicario in goal. So he went 4-3-3, which is back to the formation against Burnley. Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence, Bentancur, Palhinha, Sarr, Kudus, Richarlison, Johnson. Did we need Palhinha, Bentancur in the game at home to Bournemouth?
This is interesting because against City, I think every one of us, if somebody wants to say that they predicted 4 at the back, I call you out and say, show me evidence, because I reckon every single one of us looked at City and went, he's going to play 5. He's going to play the 3, the 3 at the back.
Yeah, we thought he'd go to the PSG format.
Yeah, and I looked at that starting lineup against City and I thought that's actually brave and clever. And the way he lined up and set up against them was, I thought, brilliant tactically. Okay, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. And what it did, when you've got the likes of Palhinha and Sarr in your midfield, who must be horrendous for a team like City to play against. They want to dominate, they want to pass it around, and those two guys are just going to be breathing down your neck all the time. Must be playing against those two must be like playing against a 4-man midfield, because the two of them just cover that much ground and they're physical beasts. And that's how we won the game, essentially. And what it allows you in a game like City, where you're not going to dominate possession, it allows Johnson in particular to flit in or out of the game. Doesn't really matter. As long as he's doing his defensive duty, he's not expected to create or carry the ball. You know, he's not expected to drive us forwards. He's there to literally take the opportunity.
Yeah, when it comes.
And a brilliant finish. An absolutely brilliant finish. Yeah. But when you come home against Bournemouth and you're expected to be on the front foot a bit more and dominate possession and knock it about, you can't compensate for Johnson not being technically good enough. You can't compensate for Sarr not actually being technically good enough in that 10. Or Palhinha not being enough of a orchestrator in that 6, and Bentancur, who just wasn't
He had
getting
a terrible
forwards
game.
enough,
He had a
right?
terrible game.
You need to have better ball carriers, better possession players, and all they needed to do was double up on Kudos, which they did. They basically forgot about Johnson because he was irrelevant again, and showed that outside of the box, that's the criticism.
Yeah, I put Saturday down as in the top 10 worst home performances I've ever seen, and I'm standing by it. I thought it was so bad. Look, we've been dicked, 6-1 by Chelsea, but we had crap teams then, or Chelsea weren't great then, but we've had bad performances. I just thought, from what I'd seen from PSG, Burnley, City, the fall-off was so bad, and we never really looked like scoring. If we've sat here and praised Frank for the first 3 games of the season. We've all been on social media and said, what a great coach he looks. Are we allowed to criticise? Because we've not been allowed to criticise. I said a couple of things on Twitter this week. How can you criticise him after 4 games? Well, if I can praise him after 3, why can I not? I think he got the team wrong, and I don't think he did enough in-game to fix it.
Well, he did take Johnson off after 54 minutes or something like that, which is that's more proactive than managers have been in the past. I mean, short of hooking somebody after half an hour, Jose style. He's definitely tried as early as he possibly. He's obviously given Johnson 10 minutes.
Did you not feel half time?
Sorry?
Did you not feel half time? I agree with you, but did you not think half time would have been the time?
I was surprised.
It doesn't happen that often. But yeah, the other thing is, as far as the midfield 3 goes, so you'd have maybe instead of Sarr had Bergvall.
Yeah.
But he's gone with Sarr every game, and he hasn't disappointed. He hasn't let us down, and more than that, he's been really good. So I think it's very difficult for him. I don't see many managers doing it. And also, he's probably thought, actually, we may have more of the ball, and we might try and be more front foot than we were against City. But the high press, Bournemouth like to play out. This is probably a tactic that we're gonna need, and this is how we're gonna play. And Sarr is actually instrumental to that. I think it's a bit after timer to say I would have liked to have seen Bergwijn. I think when the team comes out, you're going, well, this is the team that we've beaten City 2-0, and we've done.
You're right about Bergvall. It's after time because he played really well when he came. And the thing for me, Frank's made a point in every single presser to say we've got a plan. I think it's a little sideswipe at Ange. And maybe even the players have said, this bloke didn't have one.
But you can see it. You don't need to you don't need to believe it.
But he's almost said it in every single. We've got a plan to beat this lot today. When that plan fell apart, and Bournemouth, literally their tactic was close Spurs down quickly, move the ball quickly around Spurs, and it may be the personnel that are the problem. We've talked about the squad. I just felt. Did any of you really feel we were going to get back in that game?
No. It was flat. It looked like we were devoid of ideas, and Bournemouth had the measure of us. And but for bad finishing, and but for Vicario, it could have been a lot worse. Am I prepared to sit here and coat Frank for this?
I'm not coating him.
At this stage.
I'm not coating him. You're already in the YouTube comments.
Frank out already.
Am I prepared to sit here and criticise him at this stage? Look, I think managers deserve. I think he's done the right thing, showing loyalty to players who have got a tremendous away result against City, and I get why he's done it. But I agree with Jake. It should have been changed up much quicker than that. And I think managers at an early stage in their career at a new club have the leeway to find out about their teams,
question about that. For sure.
And I think like I said, I think he would have found out a lot about his teams. I think he would have found out a lot about, playing Sarr against slightly weaker teams that we should be dominating, playing Johnson against teams that we're probably not going to be breaking on that much. I think he would have found out a lot. So I think I said this about Ange at an early point of his career, if we're sat here in a year's time having the same conversation,
of course,
I think it was in relation to corners or whatever it was about Ange, and I said, at this point, let's give the guy a bit of leeway. If we're sat here in a year's time and the same mistakes are being made and we're seeing the same things, then absolutely.
But if we're allowed to come on here after 3 games and say how wonderful it all is, when we play so badly, if we just lost 2-1 or 1-0 and been knocking on the door and you go, okay, poor defeat.
I think you put it.
Saturday
I think you
was
put it.
So bad.
Yeah, you just put it in the bin and move on. It's one game.
But I think
if we play like that for the next 3 games, then I'm going to start being. We were never going to keep clean sheets forever, and we were never going to keep winning.
He said you're going to lose games.
Of course you are.
He's also set the bar pretty high, right? Because the performance against PSG was much better than any of us could have hoped. Much better.
Absolutely.
The performance against Burnley, 1-3-0. I think it glosses over a bit, but it's a good result. And then you've got City. And I think people very quickly lose sight of the fact that this is a team
Finished 17th.
Finished 17th and lost 22 games.
Yeah.
How many league games did we lose?
I should know this.
17.
As a football
Right.
statistician.
Was it more than
No,
that?
it was
23.
I'm a click away.
22.
22.
So it was 22 league games that we
Yeah.
lost. I mean, can you imagine how many games we lost throughout the season, right? We lost 22 league games. You cannot believe the disarray that this team was in. And what we saw...
26.
We lost 26 games in total. Yeah. So, what we saw on Saturday really was probably the type of performance that I've been expecting against PSG and Burnley, because for him to have turned it around as quickly as
No,
he
not
did,
Burnley.
Leicester beat us at home. Ipswich beat us at home.
Yeah,
Why
fine,
not?
fine.
Man United are rubbish, but they took Man United
Yeah.
all the way to the 97th minute. This was the performance that we'd seen throughout last season. So he's really set the bar high.
But you know what, guys? I didn't expect it. We faced, George Pena says here, 20 shots. We had 5, 1 on target.
Ooh. Yeah,
You
we had a
said
bad
that
day
Vicario
at the
kept
office.
the score
We had a
down.
bad game. I mean, I think when you're building a new side, when you're 3 games into a new managerial season, as Frank is, I think you're going to have bad games like this. And let's not forget, Bournemouth. I know you're saying teams like Bournemouth, but Bournemouth are in that bracket of Premier League teams that can go to anyone and beat them.
100%. They went to Liverpool and only lost late.
Absolutely. I would put, from last season, I would put Brentford in that category. I'd put Palace from this season in that. There's those teams that are maybe 9 to 13 that play good football, and if you're having an off day, they'll beat you. Yeah. And we saw it with most teams that came to us last season.
And this is the point, and I think George
Brighton.
A comment here, George Pena is right. There is no plan that involves facing 20 shots. And this was my disappointment, was Bournemouth obviously anticipated that we were going to line up the way that we did and play the same team as we did against City. And it was very, very clever, because what they wanted to do was get Semenyo isolated on Porro, and they wanted to get...
Porro was bad.
Semenyo actually had his number all over the place. And they wanted to get the other guy who I really like as well, the English kid, Brooks, yep. David Brooks. Yep. They wanted to get him...
Welsh.
Is he Welsh?
I think so.
Lovely player. Really nice player. They wanted to get him isolated on Spence. And you'd say to yourself, well, if you can see that Porro is struggling, why is not Bentancur or Sarr going over or Kudus coming back? And the reason was they went man to man, and as soon as you take a man out to help Porro,
it freed up.
You freed up somebody in the middle, right? So Bournemouth, in every single way, worked out how to beat us, and I agree with George Pena. I struggled to see what our plan was to beat them, and that's probably the disappointment, because against PSG I saw the plan. Against Burnley, even though I wasn't convinced that it entirely worked, I saw the plan. Against City, it was executed faultlessly, absolutely faultlessly, as it was against PSG until the last 5 minutes, faultlessly. But I couldn't see the plan, and that would be my criticism of Frank in this particular game. Was I'd love to ask the question, with that lineup, how did you see us hurting them? I'm
going to tell you what I think after I've read Drew Badenoch's comment here, loving the non-Zoom show, which is this is what we like to offer here at An Echo of Glory and at Launchpod Studios. That's what we do. But Drew, if you become a member of An Echo of Glory, I think you must be new here, you can get yourself this Mickey van der Ven, signed Mickey van der Ven shirt from the Europa League final. It's got a replica medal. I'm not sure. I should add, it's not the shirt.
It's not the shirt.
He wore,
but it is an authentically signed.
It's an authentically signed Mickey van der Ven shirt. So Drew, do that, and you can become in possession of this. Talking of possession, Richarlison on Saturday. I don't know whether he's now got back in the Brazil squad, and he's like, it's fine now. One thing I
Johnny, it was one game. Hang
on.
This is ridiculous.
We saw something on Saturday that we'd seen throughout the first 3 games of the season, which is get the ball up to Richarlison, and I've heaped praise on him for the way he's changed his game or adapted to bringing the ball down and being that focal figure, which is basically what Ivan Toney was for Frank for 4 or 5 years. It didn't work. Bournemouth snuffed that out so quickly. There was also no one off Richarlison on Saturday. The gap between Richarlison and everybody else was enormous. But you said, it's one game. I've actually seen that in 4 games. And when that breaks down, we've got a problem when Richarlison can hold the ball. Gaz, you mentioned Xavi
But
Simons.
it hasn't broken down.
Well, it broke down on
first.
Saturday.
Yeah, but in the first three.
So I was just looking at Xavi Simons' stats last season. Per game, 70 touches. He's averaging, I've lost that now, 47 touches in the opposition half per game.
Who's this?
Xavi Simons in the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
He's having 2 shots per game. He scored 10 goals last season. His XG was actually 5. He scored some belters.
Yeah.
So he's way above. He's 5 goals above his XG, which is pretty high. But that was it. I think it was 47 touches in the opposition half. And his heat map is like a 10, a lot left side.
Yeah.
It's not blaming Richarlison, but the tactic has been in the first 4 games, get it up to Richarlison and he can hold it.
Yeah, but
What's
what's the option been, right? Because here's the criticism.
Well,
of,
I'll answer you in a second.
Go on.
No, the problem I have is that we signed this kid, he's 22. We've discussed that he might not hit the ground running. He did that a lot at Brentford. The way to get out is get it up to Tony and get Mbeumo and Rissa off him. We barely got the ball into Kudus on Saturday. Johnson, we've discussed, who knows what he really is other than a back post guy. Have we got more? Frank's very flexible tactically. I've just looked at the first 4 games and gone, is that what are we going to be Brentford?
No. I think football is at its core a very simple game. And I think Frank sees it in that way, where you're going to have, the biggest disappointment was the defensive structure where we got kind of torn apart, and that's a concern. But going forwards, I think what Frank wants is a right winger that can really attack his fullback again and again and again, a bit like Semenyo did to Porro. A left winger who similarly, that's why the links to Savinho, how true they're not, I don't know. But everybody's crying out for a left winger to again attack your fullback again and again and again. Forces teams to be unable to double up like they did on Kudus. They knew as soon as they went out to Kudus, they swarmed him. They left Johnson wide open with the freedom of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and then he tried to play first touch passes around the corner straight into their midfield. I mean, it was disgusting, the performance from Johnson. Yeah. But if you've got a Savinho there, then all of a sudden you're able to get out, and then you put a Simons in the middle. Technical footballers who can bring the ball in and play off each other and retain possession and get you higher up the pitch. We had none of that. I just don't think that at this stage you can really judge that performance. And I know what you're saying about the tactics, get into Richarlison, what happens if that doesn't work. I don't think that will be the tactic. No,
because we'll play through Simons.
If we signed a Kolo Muani or a Savinho today, right, then you've got 2 wingers that are genuine ball-carrying threats. You've got Simons in the middle. I think in games like against Bournemouth, you take out, at this point, I would have Bergvall in ahead of the likes of Bentancur in every single game. Okay? So my starting 2 would be Palhinha and Bergvall.
Yeah.
And then Palhinha's backup for me is actually Sarr, and Bergvall's backup is actually Bentancur or Gray. Yeah. Okay? But I think you've got to get Bergvall in because he can actually bring it in, beat a press, and once you've got a team that's going man-to-man like Bournemouth did, that was the tactic, they went man-to-man, but suddenly you've got players all over the pitch that can beat that first press or take that pass and lay it off and retain possession under pressure. It's a totally different ball game.
Pilch here says, Frank's made a thing about winning duels. On the day, every Bournemouth player was superior. Frank actually said in the post-match, we knew exactly what they came with and we trained for it. We just didn't handle it well enough in terms of balls in behind, second balls and duels in the middle of the park. When he mentioned duels, I had a look on Saturday night, despite being a holiday, because I'm a loser, was looking up some stats. Bournemouth won 68 duels on Saturday, which is the second most of any team, third most of any team in the league this season. They'd been thoroughly out-duelled in their first 2 games of the season and came and just outdid us in every department, which kind of Frank really says. So you're just putting it down as bad day at the office.
Well, it also, that actually makes it sound even more. So Bournemouth hadn't been at it in their first 2 games, and maybe we were the unlucky team that they came up against when they suddenly said, come on, we need to pull our fingers out. He also said, I wrote it down, he said the heart and effort was there on a day that pass and touch and dribble wasn't there. So he's even saying we just didn't get going. I agree with Gazzo. The more worrying thing for me was was the defence and how they were able to get balls in that we didn't deal with, that we had been against PSG. I mean, we were so solid for most of the match against PSG.
Yeah, Evanilson had a couple of free headers. They were looking at each other.
And I'm thinking he's getting in between the two centre-backs, and I'm thinking, I've seen this before, but I haven't seen it this season. Yeah. And that was the thing that shocked me more than anything, because Frank, at the very core, first, is defence first, solidity at the back, defensive organisation, and somehow Bournemouth didn't do that. And their midfield three are not particularly creative.
They're busy. We're not good against busy. This team has, this current crop of players, not good against busy. Bentancur, who I love, he chases shadows.
I'd say Bournemouth. Yeah, Bournemouth would be a game where you might think you need maybe a bit more legs than Bentancur and a Bergvall. But then, I said this earlier on in the season already. I think having Sarr forever as a 10 is gonna be a problem.
Well, he's not going to be.
He's not. No, but he can't. It worked for 3 games, but it ain't going to work forever. And ultimately, we've signed a good 10.
How are you when we lose just before international break? Frustrated or God? Thank God I get 2 weeks off of this.
When we lose, it doesn't really matter if it's an international break or not. For me, it's always the manner of the defeat. Like, I was really upset and disappointed because the performance was so bad. But then, I've got to walk 5 minutes back to the hotel and see the kids at the pool on our last.
Had another beer and cracked on.
You got to brush it off, right? But
I said that to my dad. We've new car park at Spurs is like a 15-minute walk, and we walked 3 minutes back to the pool. I was like, this is a much better walk after losing at home to Bournemouth.
I prefer a bit of time to sort of like, just deregulate or whatever the word is. Decompress. Thank you. Decompress.
It's different when you're there, though.
Yeah. I mean, you're there. You get on the train. You've got an hour and a half journey home, and by the time you get back, you sort of brushed it off. On Saturday, I sort of had to go back to the pool.
And also, you put your phone away. You don't get involved in any arguments or Twitter spats. Yeah. Reading all the negative stuff. You're just like done.
This thing about the international break is a weird one. It is a very strange one, and. I don't know where it comes from. I think it's got to be just an anomaly rather than
7 games. We've not won any of our last 7 games before an international break.
Well, there's that, but there's also, I think we haven't won any of the games.
Last 9 games after beating City, we've not won.
We beat City and then we go on to lose the next game. So really, anybody looking at it should have gone, hang on, they beat City, they haven't won any game in 9 after beating City, and it's an international break, and they haven't won any game in 7 going into it. So Bournemouth are going to win this, right?
Yeah.
But why should that be the case? That's the case because there is something that is so embedded within this squad and within the club. And that's what Frank needs to be looking at. He needs to be looking at it going, is this a squad that beats City and suddenly starts thinking that their shit don't stink or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, are they this kind of squad that suddenly starts believing that they are better than they actually are? Because they walked out there on the pitch, created a chance after 30 seconds, seemed to have the attitude that we're going to stroll this. And that's what Frank's got to get into. People talk about Ange creating this winning mentality at Tottenham to won a trophy. Nonsense for me. The winning mentality comes from beating City and then going out and putting even more effort and performance in the next performance to go into that international. That's a winning mentality. That's a true winning mentality. And that's what I think Frank needs to work on. And he needs to understand that this club at this moment does not have a trophy, does not mask that this club, this squad, this group of players cannot be relied on at this moment to go out there and perform week after week.
You've got to put runs together. Our best run of wins last season was 5. That was Coventry away. Well, we all know what happened in that game. His Mark Robbins moment.
And it turned out to be his Mark Robbins moment.
We
did say it.
Yeah, it was Jed Spence moment.
Wasn't it a similar goal that Robbins scored as well, where he kind of
bundled through? Yeah. So Coventry away, Brentford at home. Who was their manager? Karabag, Man United away, lads, it's Man United, and Ferencvaros away. Okay, look, got to go and win them. We won 5 in a row. That was our. Other than that, we didn't have a spell of 2 more wins in a row. We've seen that bloke with the hair at Man United until Man United win 5 games in a row. Yeah, winning breeds winning, like you say, guys. I don't think winning the Europa League is going to get us players like Simons, like Kola
Mawani, hopefully.
Well,
Palhinha,
Paul O'Keefe's tweeted about that we're in negotiating.
And maybe it'll happen. Great. And you get those. If it wasn't for our friend Brendan Johnson scoring in the Europa League final, we wouldn't
Did he score?
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be getting these players. But winning, it's about winning consistently during the season. That's how you build your football team.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, and I think it's very easy to forget because we've played well in the first couple of games and we've made some good signings. unfortunately, because it's a new manager, it is now still building. And
Yes.
Anyway, Jake. What I want to know is, what would you do? What's your thing going to be until Spurs win 5 games in a row?
If I don't shave, you won't be able to see me.
Can we do that?
I'll disappear.
Can we do that?
No, absolutely not.
Gaz?
I've got a wedding next week.
What am I prepared to not do until Spurs win 5 in a row?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm not gonna punish myself.
5 in a row. That guy didn't. The United guy's not 5 in a
Yeah,
row.
he
Yeah,
is.
5 in a row.
Oh, I thought he was 2 or 3 in a row. 'cause
No,
they
he's
haven't
5
put
in a row.
Actually,
5.
goes another 3 years.
They ain't winning. Yeah, they ain't
Just
winning
have to
5.
give up. It'd be like, guys, I tried.
Someone said on Twitter, has there ever been a man who's died for having too much hair? Like, this could
It would be me.
It's nearly a year.
You were making a point. I wanted to pick up on it. Go on.
Sorry.
No, that it's it is Johnny said building a squad, and the thing is we are building a squad,
Yes.
not from scratch, but certainly from the beginning of this season or the beginning of the transfer window.
Correct. That building the squad is how you win consistently trophies or even just consecutive games. That's how you build.
Yeah.
Winning the Europa League.
No, but what I mean is we are going to have hiccups in the beginning. You know,
Yeah.
the problem is that we've seen a lot of performances like that quite recently. But you have to put the ones that we saw from last season completely in the bin because this is a clean slate. And the other thing about the window is, as much as we as fans would like to, I think it's unrealistic to think we were going to fill all the gaps that we needed to fill.
Oh, well, of course.
So no, but even I'm checking myself on this.
Do you think?
So actually,
we've got ourselves back in the Champions League, Jake. This is the time to do
But what
that.
I mean is, we've signed 3 players that we're really happy with.
Yeah.
If we can get one more, I think the chances are we going to be able to get that fullback in, or maybe he's looked at Johnson, Johnson playing on the left and gone, actually, if we're not going to be able to fill all the holes we needed to, he's probably one we can get away with playing a bit more than say. We really needed a 6. We really need a 10 now, but with Maddison injured, I don't know. I'm just thinking, if we don't sign anyone else today, I think where we were at the beginning of the window, I don't think it wouldn't be the worst window we've ever had, for sure.
I agree.
with
And
that,
I think I think you're right. It's rare, unless you're Liverpool, this particular window, that you're going to end up with a squad where every position is filled and covered.
Yeah.
Every squad is going to be left short somehow, somewhere. I've said it many times.
I do think them up the road have done it this window.
Yeah, they've got a deep squad. I'm dubious on certain things which I'm not going to get into here. But yeah, they've got a very good squad, undoubtedly.
But they're further down their build, if you see what I mean.
We're sort of hurting at the moment because of a poor performance against Brentford. But I completely agree with you, and I think we're on the same page, that early on in a manager's tenure, you have to give some leeway and you have to hope that he's going to learn from this. And I have absolute confidence and faith that his coaching staff, who I think, even on the touchlines, you can see this season have been exemplary. They knew the goal against Burnley involved all players on the pitch before anybody else. They knew that the goal against City was onside before anybody else knew it. And I love that kind of thing. They see everything. And I've got absolute confidence they'll take a lot of learning. And it goes back, in terms of the transfer window, there has been disappointments and we are going to be left short. That's without a doubt. But as a club, I think we are genuinely moving forwards. And, I think back to what Ollie Spiro, former panellist, used to say.
You're going to call him former friend of the show. I get in trouble for that.
No, friend of the show, very much so. But he was on the show quite a lot last season. And words that he said resonate quite strongly about adults being in the room. And when you think about the forward direction of the club and where we are, you had Munn, who wasn't operating at Premier League level, had never done so. Lange, who had essentially had a very questionable kind of period at Villa, and his complete lack of coaching staff. And you look at it now, and you see Munn replaced by Venkatashi, is that his name? Vinay Venkatasham from Arsenal. Tremendous amount of experience. It looks like Lange is about to be replaced, or certainly going to be reporting into Paratici, a guy with tremendous experience. Frank has come in with his coaching squad, tremendous experience. Palini has come in, even in the team. Adults are coming in to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. The level of experience, the level of professionalism is going up. And as much as we're hurting at the moment because we haven't got every single player we wanted and we've just lost to Bournemouth, generally, the club is moving in a very positive forward direction, in my view, at this moment in time.
I think we're all just a little bit fed up with new projects starting every 18 months.
Yes, that is unfortunate.
But this does feel like
where we are.
Getting into the Champions League was so important. God help us if we hadn't. Where would we be now? I don't know. I just want to pick up on something Hotspur Sam said. Sam says, last season all along I said we weren't winning our duels. That's nothing new. Our players in midfield aren't robust. It's why we signed Paulinho. I just looked up. Since the start of last season, we've lost 2,186 duels. The number means nothing. But it's actually the second most in the league. Behind Bournemouth, in fact. But something Iraola is clearly
addressing.
Yeah, but what about this season?
I can give you this.
As in, because I wouldn't. I don't think you can take into account really anything that happened in terms of.
No.
Well, it's something that Andy
apart
Frank
from,
would be
apart
looking
from trophies
at.
won,
I
wouldn't take into
Frank would be
account any
looking
numbers.
at it.
Yeah.
In terms of this season, fourth most.
Well, there you go.
Bournemouth's still the most.
So yeah, so it's
Duels won or duels lost?
Duels lost.
Duels lost. There you go. So it needs to be worked on, and their data team will know this.
Of course.
They'll be looking at it. And
Did you say fourth best or fourth lowest?
We've
this
lost
season?
the fourth most.
Oh, we've lost the fourth most.
Behind Brentford, Brighton, all the Bs. Brentford, Brighton and Bournemouth.
Yeah.
All right,
You
so
mentioned Champions League, and where would we be without it? We've
the
said
draw.
the
The draw. You're right. We should mention the draw. So the draw was made on Thursday. Thank you, Brennan Johnson. And it goes like this: Villarreal at home. I said I don't remember playing them.
The Yellow Submarine. Isn't
The Yellow Submarine.
They've given United some problems in the past.
Well, they always just draw 0-0 with Man United.
Yeah.
I think there was 5 0-0s in a row, and then they beat them in that Europa League final.
Yeah.
The way to Bodo, heard of them?
Tell you what.
What, that pub team?
Those sort of teams can't play in the Champions League.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
in it.
Tell you what. End of September as well.
Yeah.
Is a right touch. That is a right touch that we got them first away game.
You wouldn't want them November.
You want them
December,
November,
Jan.
December, January, February.
Although you play them in Jan,
No,
and they've
no,
not.
you do
They've
because
not
they
played.
haven't been playing.
Yeah. But anyway,
Anyway.
It's Bodo. Monaco away, who we have played them at Wembley, didn't we? In the Champions League, I think we lost.
They're a good team at that point.
FC Copenhagen, you don't want to play them away. They're a good side. They'll be technical and really good. Frank will know all about them. You want to play them at home. PSG, heard of them? Get another draw against them. Slavia Prague, feel like we played them in all of those Europa League groups where you only UEFA Cup when you only played once. Dortmund at home, played them a fair bit, and Eintracht away. We just we just beat them away, don't we? It's what we do.
I mean, it's not the best last game to have if you need a result.
So no, but hopefully it's done by then.
But I think the rest of the draw.
I saw the draw, I was like, that's boring.
Did you say we're going to win it?
Yeah. We always win the Champions League in Frank's first season. I was like, that's boring. But then when you look at it, you're like, boring's great because I want to get through. Then let's play your Real Madrids and your Barcelonas. But yeah, we can get that. That's a good draw, right?
That's what the Champions League is now, though. With the numbers of teams that are going into it, and particularly with you've got to finish in the top 16, top 8 to go through to the last 16, the top 16 to go through to the last 32, or the next round, whatever it is.
8,
whatever, I don't know. I think it's somebody's asking, Stephen Bruton's asking, as a match going fan, are you disappointed with the draw? Not many glamour home ties. You just got to expect that.
It's a good question. I was thinking that, Gaz. Bouncing down the high road, knowing you're playing Real Madrid or Barcelona is great until they buy
wallop you. Yeah, exactly.
Until they buy Munich you 7-2, whatever it was. Actually, rocking up, going, win this game.
Yeah, and the reality of it is, you could be in the Champions League and finish bottom of your group, and you're out of Europe by January. This way, your European season should be going into February, March. At least your season gets extended. So, am I disappointed? It's a little bit like the World Cup with the extended numbers there. The World Cup doesn't really start now until after the first week, when or first 2 weeks, I think it is, when you've got all the absolute dross playing, and then then they go out the competition. It's a little bit like that. It's all
when Morocco reached the semi-final. I'd love that.
But you get these teams that just, it's been the quality has been diluted. We should get through to get through to the last 16.
Yeah.
Would people be happier if it was the old format and we had Madrid, PSG, and Frankfurt? Because then everyone would be like, we're not going through. So who wants that?
This is fine.
Exactly.
This is fine.
No, or you'd say we finish third and go to the Europa League and win that. But no, I quite like the format. It gives us a really good chance of going through, and we should go through. It also is probably a draw that suits our squad and how we stretch that squad thin. If you were playing, really strong teams in double headers home and away, that really stretches the squad. But come on, like, I might sit here and eat my words because they're a good team at home, but you've got to go away and beat Bodo. Frankfurt have a budget lower than Leeds United. Go and beat them. I don't care. Yeah, they make a lot of noise. Woo, wave flags. Woo. Like, go and beat them. We show
Copenhagen, Slavia Prague at home. Like, we have to win those two.
I
How good are Monaco these days?
They've improved. I hate doing predictions.
Villarreal at home is definitely better than playing
5 or 6 wins there.
Yeah. It has to be.
Yeah.
Let's have
5 or 6 wins without really stretching our squad.
Last season,
to the point you could almost say, do you know what? We'll go away to PSG and who cares? It's not. So I think it's a good draw for us.
So last season to get through the group.
I think if you had to make a choice, you'd rather it's almost just as hard to play PSG at home or away, but you'd rather play Dortmund, the sort of next best team at home, because that really gives us a chance.
Yeah.
16 points Villa got through with last season. Villa got through with 5 wins and a draw.
We do well to get that, I think.
Well, looks like you might have to.
Well, where did Villa finish in the group?
They were the 8th team. Atalanta, Dortmund, Real Madrid, Bayern, and Milan all got 15.
Even when I looked at that draw, I still think we'll have to do really well to go through automatically in the Champions League.
11 points will knock you.
There was also some other good teams playing that would be in that top 7 or top 8.
Jake, Dortmund, Madrid, Bayern, Milan, PSG went on to win it and finished 15th. City 22nd. 11 points got knocked out.
Yeah,
We're going to get 11
points. But if you
points.
looked at those teams now, you'd say they'll finish ahead of us. I know they didn't finish in the top 8 last year, but if you were going to make a prediction right now, you'd have PSG and City finishing probably ahead of us in the Champions League.
Villa,
that's what I mean.
Villa, Lille, and Leverkusen.
Obviously, you never know what happens and who doesn't turn
Villa,
up.
Lille, and Leverkusen went through in the top 8. Villa weren't even in it. I don't know about Lille. Leverkusen have just sacked Ten Hag.
Yeah, but Chelsea are in it, so
Yeah, it's all. If we don't finish in the top 24,
no, 24. Yes, I think 8 is a bit of a stretch personally, but even with that draw,
it's a good draw.
It's a good draw.
Talking about so Jake Simons just put Bayern, Madrid, City dropped so many points. Talking about dropping of points, did you have an absolute wallop with your loyalty points?
I stayed on the same number, 204. Yeah, I had 204 before Bilbao, and I still have 204. Yeah, bizarre.
I'm fuming.
So what happened to you?
I've lost like 54 points overnight. Now, keep in mind, I had 30 for the new season, and I've lost. I was on something like 227 points. I thought I'd be on 257 points at the beginning of the season. I'm down to like 202. I've called him and asked for an audit of it. I don't know how they work this stuff out.
Well,
I really don't.
It'll be interesting to hear when they come back with an answer.
So I've had to automatically go onto the cup scheme, so I get my 10 points for that. So I've done that. So I'm looking forward to Darlington at home. Great. Doncaster, whoever care. I mean, yeah, I'll go. I will go because I would anyway. But I don't know. Is anybody else sort of reeling from having lost a huge
a few
number
people
of points?
were moaning about it.
I don't understand. You go and you go and you
You're
go.
obviously not loyal, Gaz.
But it's the point. But you go and you go and you go, and then you get what? And actually, it's to do with I think the 5th season that comes off, right? So if anything, it shows that in that season I was very very loyal. So I'm getting kicked in the balls because I was
Christopher Hall, who I know goes home and away he goes everywhere.
That's disgusting. You're getting punished
for loyalty. Well, how have they done it then?
Supposedly they take off the points from the 5th season, so 5 seasons ago. So apparently in that season I would have amassed 54 points or whatever it was, or 50 points.
That would have been a COVID season.
I think the season before that.
So the more loyal you are,
the more loyal
5 seasons later, you'll lose all those points basically.
So I've basically, joking aside, I've not lost points because I've barely gone to away games, which is
5 years ago.
I wasn't going.
5 years. No, it's more. It's not just away games. It's also home cup.
I've gone to most home cup games.
So then I don't know how you haven't lost points.
Yeah, no, I don't.
So, but this is the point: is you kind of.
It's because I'm the host of the best Tottenham podcast.
You need to spend more in the bar and the food.
He spends more, 100%. I'm buying waffle fries.
Well,
and that's
it will be interesting to hear when they come back to you with an answer.
Well, I asked for an audit. Funnily enough, I wrote to the ticket office, said I want an audit that predates me going into the stadium, because that's, what did they send me? They sent me all my points from the moment we joined the stadium. Now I've gone back and said, come on, like, it's simple. Anyway, I would. Reeling from that, and I get, Chris Hall's gone from 420 to 350, and that's a kick in the nuts as well. But when you're sort of in that bracket of fans that, like, you should get for the cup finals and that, but only just, and then you're getting whacked a load of points.
But when you say finals, do you mean the Wembley finals or the European finals? Because
in theory, we should
for the Europa League, the allocation. I mean, you're struggling. Whereas at Wembley, we might get 30 or 40,000.
I think Champions League final allocations
well, you'll get more
than
the Europa. Yeah, because it'll be a bigger stadium.
No, so I should be okay still. But I just wondered if it's a topic that's been prevalent for myself this week, so I thought I'd raise it. I'm in a dispute with the ticket office. I'll let you know in 2 months' time how it resolves.
Just going back on Solanke, Jake Sanders, who broke. No, it wasn't Jake. Yeah, Jake Sanders broke the news on Solanke.
He did.
He
broke it to the world.
Don't want to disarm man. He's especially as he's in the chat. Tom Allnut has tweeted: Spurs not looking for strikers today. Don't know about that. Despite Solanke's niggling ankle problem, Solanke has had an injection to settle it down. Spurs not expecting him to be out for a lengthy period. I mean, I don't know who to believe anymore.
Well, I think
you saying you don't believe Jake?
I believe an echo of glory's Jake.
But the two could be true. Jake saying that it could be worse than first feared, but we're also not going to sign a striker today. So, and if we were to get Muani through the door, then we're definitely not going to get a striker. And again, I think you'd have to be happy with it overall, wouldn't you?
We got to sign Muani.
You can't fill all the holes that's the problem.
Well, we got a big hole now. If Solanke, who knows?
I think if you get Muani in. Listen, my number one would have been Savinho. I love him as a footballer, love him. But if you can't get him, you can't get him. I think if you get Muani in, who can cover left wing and up front, and again, it's somebody you can get the ball into, and he's going to terrorise fullbacks. He's going to run at players. Yeah, I think it's a great signing and covers a lot of holes and a lot of gaps in the team. And I think, going back to your question about, is the tactic going to be get it into your centre forward and hope he holds it up? Absolutely not. I
was just playing devil's advocate.
I think what Frank is looking at is a really solid base, which was the concern, as you said rightly, against Bournemouth, that they tore through us. But once we've got players that we can get the ball into, it seems like Bournemouth simply wouldn't be able to do that as much.
I disagree with Ronnie, who Ronnie, me and him seem to align on what we have to say. He says Kola Muani is dusty, no better than Richie or Solanke. Disagree. I think Muani is a goal scorer.
I don't know what he's basing that on.
He scored a few goals for Juve. Look where he's played. No,
when I've seen him, he carries the ball.
I think there's question marks though until he's settled in and until he's worked out, got the gist of how we want to play and all that. Don't expect him to come in and score 5 in his first 5 or get 5 assists in his first 5 games.
No, but he's a good, accomplished player, and I think it just adds tremendous depth to the squad.
Yeah.
And Chris Hall, who says a number of people in his group have had the same issues with loyalty points. Good to know. I think they'll be redressing it and updating it over the coming weeks. So I'm told. And he also asks, where has the extra 70 million we had to spend gone to? Now that's an interesting one.
Well, no, 50 mil on Javi Simons.
Yeah, but he's right in the sense that we were looking to sign Eze and Savinho, right? And if that's the case, then assuming that there's still 70 million there, if you've got 70 million to spend, there's no point just going to spuff it up against a player for the sake of we need a player. I'd rather we kept it back and look to get a Kolo Muani on loan, which doesn't bite into that. And maybe next summer, maybe Savinho, or even in January, maybe Savinho does become available.
But also on deadline day, I know Chris isn't just talking about today. And again, I know this is going to go to Newcastle, but that was all the chain once Isak had gone and blah, blah, blah. If you're signing someone now for 70 million quid, he's going to be a top player. That selling club will have to find someone else. You're buying distressed players now. You're getting loan players like on today. Yes, the 70 million maybe should have been spent in the last 8 weeks, but today it's loans, I think.
I agree. Again, the Isak one is one that's been going.
Yeah.
We have one of these guys is like, you're happy if you can get someone like him on loan. Who cares about the 70 million now? I think it's done.
And also, I think, again, I'll come back to Kolo Muani. I think it'd be a fantastic loan signing. But in terms of that 70 million, I'd rather keep our powder dry, let Frank get his feet under the desk, don't blow all our budget in one window, let him really assess the squad, see where we're at, let Paratici come back in, really start forming a plan, and you've got that 70 million plus whatever else to come in the next window or the one after that. So
the desire was there, at least. The will to
That's
do
very
it.
much we tried.
Well, yeah, but they did. I mean, they really. As far as the Gibbs White one, for example, I mean, they really did.
I don't agree with that, Jay. You got to be bigger and just get these things done.
Well, yeah, and that.
Just get them done.
Spend the money.
Yeah, well, we're 3 weeks on Savio because I think Chris, 3 weeks on Savio was. I think there must have been indications from the agent and the player that he desperately wants to come.
There definitely was.
Pep Guardiola is also one who
I
has
think
said
Pep
openly.
was happy for him to go.
I think Pep has said,
Yeah.
I don't want players here that don't want to be here.
Yep.
But the reality is that they got burnt with Palmer, and I don't think they want to get burnt again. Yeah, it's comments like 70 million will go to properties is as Mr. Dak 123 says is
nonsense.
I mean,
A big property that.
we try here. We really do try here to have a sort of fairly neutral, informative, grown-up conversation, right? Let's try to keep it. So it's obviously not going to property, is it? It's obviously there. It's going to be there. We will spend it at another time. And yeah, I think on the whole, I agree with you. If we get somebody like Kalamwani through the door, I don't think anybody could possibly turn around and say it's not been a good window. We just need to get Basuma, Gil, Solomon out.
Yeah, I'd love Kalamwani. The Fabrizio Romano tweets as we're talking to him. I think the sticking point might be this obligation that PSG want. That sounds very much like something Spurs might faff about with, but I hope not, because we don't know the truth on Solanke. Even if Solanke isn't injured, go and get the guy because he can play left wing. Yeah. So just get him. He's a good player. Gaz, talking good players. Gaz, when are we gonna see you next?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
No, I don't know. Because I've got this puppy, and it can't be. You can't just leave a puppy at home for a couple of hours. Once he's all vaccinated and a bit more trained, James has very kindly said he can come to the studio. And we'll do that, and that would be nice for everybody. But I think for the next few weeks, at least, month, unless my wife works from home on a Monday every now and then.
Jake Sanders, I know you're watching because you're in clear schedule for Mondays, mate. Thank you. We're going to see you. Are you around, Flaky Jakey?
You better hope so.
All right, let's do this again. Jake Robson, you can sell it.
Yeah, if you want to get your hands and your front room wall on this shirt, signed by Mickey van der Ven, replica from the final in Bilbao. It's also got a lovely medal there, a couple of pictures. You need to become an Echo of Glory member. And how do you do that? You go onto the YouTube page, an Echo of Glory YouTube page, on your laptop or your PC, not on a tablet, and you sign up.
You should do this for a living.
Much better than me. Stephen Bruton, we're going to start off with a couple of things that he has said. A softer side to Gary there with your puppy. What you don't know, Stephen, is he's getting a blood-sucking Rottweiler.
An attack dog.
Attack dog.
I wanted a Rottie. They're actually gorgeous dogs. They're not attack dogs. They're beautiful, beautiful dogs. But as a first family dog, we're getting a retriever.
All right. And Stephen Bruton also says, don't be a stranger during this boring international break. We won't be. I am talking to Rafa Honigstein on Thursday about Javi Simons. I'm going to ask him if it's Simons or Simons.
I was going to say, can you ask him how to say it?
We'll talk to him about the draw with Dortmund and Frankfurt. And then next Monday we'll be back. Don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll find something. We will be here without Gary.
There might be a blockbuster transfer deadline day to talk about.
Jake's right. We could get you Spurs doing that dog of the match. That could be you guys.
I love dogs, and I think like anybody that doesn't love dogs, just be wary of them. But Spurs have got this initiative with the dogs, right? And it's great, and it's all very nice. They tweeted something the other day, pre the Simons signing, about these dogs, and it's just like sometimes admin. Just,
we're all fuming here.
Like we all like the dogs. We like the dogs, but read the room.
Yeah. Right. See you next week. Jake Robson, you're in.
I'm in.
Until you tell me you're not. Or Jake Sanders, or Adam Nathan, or James Robbins. We'll be here. And we'll see you soon. I hope James is going to press the button because I can hear he's on the phone in there. But I've got a button here, but I'm not going to press it yet. We will see you next week. Watch out for the Rafa Honigstein interview later this week. We'll see you soon. And up the Spurs.
He didn't press the button.
He didn't press the button.
Press the button.
I don't know whether to...